Alright, CNT140 bid specification project. We're looking at the first piece, the site survey. So on the bid specification folder, again, make sure you download a copy of the bid spec overview and rubric. That's what I have back here. There is a copy of the map in the bid spec overview we can use for reference. We'll eventually need the package tracer file, but not for this piece. What I want to do now is open the bid spec site survey folder, and I kind of have these numbered in order so you know which ones we're working on. And we're going to open the notes page that's here. We'll kind of work down through this, and I'll kind of show you how to get this going. So the first thing we want to do is kind of get a feel for what is the building we're cabling. So to do that, I'm going to scroll down here through my bid spec folder till I get to the map. I'm just going to have that handy. So we are going to pretend to cable the Hall Tech building, the building we're sitting in for our CNT classes and CNT lab rooms. The actual CNT lab rooms are down here in this corner. So we're going to pretend to cable this building. So the first thing we want to do is get a feel for what is here that we're actually cabling. So we call that a site survey. In real life, you'd be walking around maybe with the maintenance person, maybe one of the IT people, because this is, you're doing a cabling project for their network, and getting a feel for this building and what is needed. On our bid spec overview page, if I scroll up here to the top, that is what some of these notes are here. There were some notes taken from meeting with them on what their need is. Okay, there's basically 4 network connections needed for each room, each area of the building. They do need a wireless network secured from other traffic, and connections can be wall mount outlets that we'll be using. They do need some wireless coverage, so we'll make sure we have ports for that, but later on we will add those into the building. And we'll need to eventually select our equipment closets. So one of the things we're going to be looking for when we do this is, are there closets we could potentially allocate for this? So I'm going to scroll back down to our map down here to look at. I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. There we go. So we're going to be looking at this building. Now, ideally, we'll take a minute, maybe before or after class, walk through the building just to kind of see what's there. And we're going to kind of bend the rules a little bit. We're going to treat pretty much every room as a classroom. One of the reasons is the constraints on packet tracer. Packet tracer has a limited number of cabling choices for patch panels and outlets, so we're just going to kind of trim it down to be classrooms each area, but we'll still go through all the motions of allocating drops to our rooms. So there is a couple things we need to know. What is the main point of presence for the building? And it is actually 113. So basically the ISP connection comes into this 113 room down here. So this room is going to end up being at least a closet for our plan. But as I look at this, and we're going to look at this in one of the next steps we do, we'll find out that this is probably not centrally located enough to be able to cable the whole building, especially when I start walking down these hallways and realize there's a big zigzag over here. So we might actually need a second closet, which is one of the things we're going to be looking for. We have a blueprint of the building. This is kind of our blueprint here, and we'll notice it's about 58 meters by 58 meters. That'll come in handy or be important when we start dealing with cabling lengths. So it's something we're going to keep in the back of our brain. They noted that they want to do like 4 drops in each classroom, 4 drops in the office area, and they're going to have some wireless coverage for anything in between, if you will. They do want to make sure there's a couple extra drops in our plan, in our closet, so they could add in things like maybe an extra access point or things like that in the future. They have noted that 113 is the POP, and we probably have noted, or will note as we start looking over here in this hallway, there's a little closet that's kind of in the middle. This might be able to be our second closet in the building. So, what we would do in real life is we'd walk through the building and take some notes of what's there. And I do want you to do that at some point, because I want you to look at the walls and the ceiling and the lights and that sort of stuff to get an idea where things are. And we want to note what's a classroom, what's an office, what's a closet, what's a bathroom, those sorts of things, because things like bathrooms we're not going to cable, but classrooms, offices, that sort of thing we would need to. We also want to note where things like lights and things are in the ceiling, because we want to make sure our network cabling stays away from those, and little nuances like that that are going to help us make decisions on what we're doing. So over here, we're gonna do that. You'll take a minute and walk through the building to kind of note where things are, and I have some reminders here about do's and don'ts. You know, we're just going to make notes of what the rooms are. We'll make a mental note of things of like where the ceiling construction, wall construction, lighting, that sort of thing. Okay. We're not going to barge into classrooms. We're not going to disturb classes. We're not going to break into locked rooms. We're not going to ask to have rooms unlocked. We're not going to disturb anything that's currently going on. We're just going to kind of peek through the window, note what's there. And to do that, we're just going to create a spreadsheet. Here's our map of our building as well. We're just going to create a spreadsheet of our rooms. So as I started looking at our building, I started a brand new, in my folder here, my BidSpec folder. I started a spreadsheet and I started listing the rooms. So I just kind of started going down the hallway 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, and I started noting what they were. And these right here, I'm kind of like, okay, they're probably classrooms, so I could probably do this kind of thing, whoops, here to kind of note what it is. And this was like a closet or storage, so it would be an area we wouldn't need to cable, etc. So for now, I might want to make note of like, what is this particular room? And I kind of grouped them all here in the hallway for 113. All of these, I'm assuming, are going to come here to the 113. So I kind of lumped all these together. And then as I moved over to this wing, I'm like, well, we're probably going to find out. We're going to check soon, but we're probably going to find out that, you know, cabling from this room here, there's no way it's going to make it the whole way over to this closet with distance. I really don't think it will. So I kind of said, you know what, I'm going to group these rooms over here, pretending we're probably going to aim towards this closet in the middle of the hallway. So when I did the other half, I'm like, let's kind of at least put these down of like, okay, again, this is another classroom, closet, etc. Okay. And now I at least have a start on what are these rooms for my plan. As we come back and start doing some measuring and checking of things, we can add more information to the spreadsheet. But this at least gives us a starting point to keep track of a record of our building and our plan. So that's what we're going to do for the first part, our site survey of our BidSpec.